Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today in Whitby as we highlight yet another important step forward in our government's ongoing efforts to protect workers and strengthen workplace safety across Ontario. As Parliamentary Assistant to both the Minister of Colleges, Universities, Research Excellence and Security, and the Minister of Children, Community and Social Services, I've seen firsthand the vital role that safety and preparedness play in supporting our skilled workforce, particularly here in Whitby and across the region of Durham. The men and women working on our construction sites are building the Ontario of tomorrow, including highways, homes, hospitals, energy systems, and more. They deserve to work in an environment that puts their health and well-being first. It's now my pleasure to introduce my caucus colleague, longtime friend, and true champion for Ontario's workers, the Minister of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development, and MPP for Northumberland, Peterborough South, the Honourable David Piccini. Now, before entering provincial politics, Minister Piccini built an impressive career in public service, both here at home and on the international stage. From working as a market analyst at Agricultural Canada to shaping global trade policy in the Office of the Minister of International Trade, Minister Piccini has always brought a thoughtful and forward-looking approach to the challenges facing our province and country and his hometown of Port Hope. Please join me in welcoming the Honourable David Piccini.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lauren. I always appreciate a shout out to my hometown, Port Hope. Thank you all for being here today, and Lauren, for your leadership. I appreciate everybody joining me in today's cold weather. We've got amazing partners here who've been at the forefront of health and safety in Ontario, because I've always said a healthy and safe workforce is a productive one. I want to thank ResCon and Andrew for hosting. You've been such a champion for workers, always putting forward progressive ideas to feed into legislation that always at its core reflect the interests of workers of this province. Chuck, Hugh, and Eva, and the Heathwood team and the Mikey Network team. Hugh, your leadership is so valued and appreciated, and Chuck and the Mikey team, they have been true progressive voices on defibrillators on job sites and keeping workers safe, and I can't thank them enough. I'm also joined by Jason with Leuna 183. Jason came to me early as Minister of Labour and talked about this specific issue I'm announcing today. Jason, thank you for your friendship and for your leadership on this initiative. I'm also joined by Dr. Joel Moody, our Chief Prevention Officer, Steve Chaplin from Prevention Council, Nadia with the RCCAO, staff with Ontario Sewer and Water Main Construction Association, Heart and Lung Foundation, Heart and Stroke Foundation, and so many more. I mean, this is a team effort that feeds into our legislation, so it's a real team standing with us on this. I want to start by acknowledging the work being done by construction and skilled trades workers who are the backbone of our economy and are here at Heathwood today building homes for our next generation. They get up each and every day to build a stronger Ontario, and they dig deep, build high, and get it done so that the rest of us can get to work on time, have a place to call home, and turn on the lights. And that's why, under Premier Ford's leadership, our government is taking another groundbreaking step to protect Ontario workers when it's more important than ever. And nobody gets that more than my colleague Lauren Coe, who's been a ferocious advocate for our next generation and for people in skills training and development, whether it's Mellies or whether it's right here, our next generation of skilled trades workers. Lauren, thank you for your leadership. By improving safety for the hardworking people that are getting it done to build our province. I've said, and I'll say again, a healthy and safe worker is a productive worker. And we're here today to announce that we're proposing regulatory amendments under the Occupational Health and Safety Act that would require employers with construction projects of 20 or more that last 3 months or longer in duration have an automated external defibrillator, AED, and a worker trained to use it. And this came from consultations we initiated as a part of Working for Workers 5 that emphasized the importance of defibrillators on construction projects as life-saving measures. More importantly, it comes from real life stories. I spoke with Mike, who we're privileged to have here tonight, who spoke to us about working on a job site in Etobicoke, where he started experiencing chest pains. Sought medical help. Thankfully, as happenstance would have it, there was an ambulance and a paramedic driving through. But that defibrillator, when he woke up, he had a defibrillator on it. It saved his life. That is something, when we know that seconds are the matter between life and death. Mike's story illustrates the importance of having defibrillators on job sites. His life was saved that day because a defibrillator restarted his heart, and the equipment has the ability to change stories into happy endings like his. And that's why we're doing this. This initiative is not just about placing a piece of equipment on a job site. In a cardiac event, seconds change lives, and construction sites are one of the top workplace settings for cardiac events. In fact, according to our ministry officials within the Ministry of Labor, they've accounted for more than 15% over the last 5 years. Who's affected by those events? It's mums and dads who go to work to build our future, who must be able to return safely to their families at the end of each day. You know, when you kiss your loved one goodbye in the morning, you want to know that they're going to come back at the end of the day. And it's our job as public policy makers under Premier Ford's leadership to make sure that that happens. And as Minister of Labor, it's my job to do what I can to help them. Unleashing the potential of workers in this sector starts with making sure they're healthy and safe. And this builds on the great response from employers for our ministry workplace naloxone program, which included free training and kits with over 5,800 participating and being trained through that initiative. This proposal is part of a larger package that expands on groundbreaking actions we've been taking through our Working for Workers Act since 2021. In the coming days, you're going to hear more about measures our government's taking to support workers on projects across Ontario, keep costs down for businesses, and create a safer workplace for everyone across the province of Ontario. Because in the face of economic uncertainty, our greatest competitive advantage is our people and our workers. Together, we're building a safer and stronger Ontario, and today's historic announcement of defibrillators on construction sites is the first in North America. We will be the first jurisdiction, Ontario, in North America to take this step. So thank you once again for everyday heroes in the construction industry for your dedication and hard work. Let's continue to protect our workforce to ensure Ontario remains the best place to live, work, and raise a family, our home Ontario. Thank you, everyone, and now I'm going to pass the mic to Jason from Leona 183.
Thank you, Minister. Good morning. On behalf of Leuna Local 183 and our over 70,000 members, I want to express our strong support for this important proposed change. Every day, our members show up to work, ready to build the homes, roads, and infrastructure that serve communities across Ontario. Their safety on the job is not negotiable. It is fundamental. We've seen firsthand how having an automated external defibrillator can save a life in a moment of crisis. It's in those moments of crisis that seconds matter, and access to an AED can mean the difference between life and death, between living and dying. By requiring AEDs on larger and longer duration construction sites, this initiative sends a clear message. The lives of Ontario's construction workers matter. This is a practical, necessary, and potentially life-saving measure that should be available to the hard-working men and women who build our cities and infrastructure every day. We thank Minister Piccini, Member Coe, and the Government of Ontario for continuing to prioritize worker safety in the Working for Workers legislation, Workers for Workers 7, legislation. Together, we're building not just stronger communities, but safer ones too. Thank you. I would now like to introduce Andrew Pariser, Vice President of ResCon, to deliver remarks.
Thank you everyone for coming today. My name is Andrew Pariser. I'm the Vice President of ResCon, and I'm very excited to be part of this announcement today. In short, this legislation will save lives, and I'd like to start by recognizing Minister Piccini. This is the first in North America, and thank you for your leadership. I'd like to recognize MPP Lauren Coe, but also all of the people within government who made this happen. ResCon is an association that represents low, mid, and high-rise builders. We build the homes, the condos, the apartments, the residential units that Ontarians need. I am very proud of all of our members, but today I'm especially proud of the Heathwood Heritage Group. Residential construction really stepped up during the COVID pandemic, and I think we take, the leadership or a leadership position when it comes to health and safety in construction. And I think today is another example of a great member in Heritage Heathwood, continuing to demonstrate how seriously we take health and safety. So I do want to thank Chuck and Eva from Heathwood Heritage. Also, Sheldon is here, and he's a director owner of my board, so I always have to make sure I have to thank them. But it's a great group, and the entire leadership team is here, and they've been supporting this cause for over 20 years now. And so we have to recognize a group called the Mikey Network. And they've been ensuring, and you're going to hear from Chuck in a second, they've been ensuring that Mikeys, also known as AEDs, are out on construction sites, but throughout the community, and they've saved a tremendous number of lives. So when it comes to health and safety, the ideal is to eliminate a hazard before it occurs. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. And so today, this is about creating and ensuring a key piece of equipment is there when it's needed. We did hear Michael's story. He is a survivor, and he's someone that benefited from a Mikey or an AED being on site. And so it's great to share those survivor stories, and thank you, Michael, for coming today. Again, very excited. Just want to thank everyone today who made this possible. Things like this just don't happen on their own, and it's always exciting, and it's amazing to see what happens when government and employers and unions and labor can come together. It makes a difference for everyone in Ontario. So thank you, everyone. And I'm going to turn it over to Chuck now, the president of the Mikey Network.
Thank you, Minister Piccini, Lauren Coe, MPP, invited guests, and members of the media, as well as our entire Mikey Network team here today. My name is Chuck Resnick, and I'm the president of the Mikey Network. We're thrilled today with the announcement by Minister Piccini, AEDs, Mikeys, defibrillators, however you choose to refer them, are going to be placed on all construction sites throughout Ontario where they meet the criteria as set forth by the Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development. Just trying to spell or say the word defibrillator can be challenging, and that's why we simply refer to them as Mikeys. We at the Mikey Network are so pleased that Minister Piccini has the foresight to make our dream come true by locating life-saving defibrillators on construction sites and making that a priority. In fact, one of our strategic programs, Mikey on Site, does just that. And you can read all about it on the mikeyonsite.com website. And to Andrew Pariser and his team at ResCon, they've been incredibly supportive of this program. I just wanted to say thank you to ResCon for their incredible support of our Mikey on Site program. On behalf of all Ontario workers and the entire team at the Mikey Network, we thank you for recognizing the need for this incredible initiative. Now, we at the Mikey Network and the Ministry of Labour and Immigration, Training and Skills Development share the same vision for saving lives. In 2002, Mike Salem, a partner in Heritage Heathwood, was playing golf in the Muskokas. Mike hit his tee shot, drove up to his ball ready for his second shot, and collapsed due to sudden cardiac arrest. At the time, there were no defibrillators on the golf course. If there were, Mike's odds would have changed dramatically. In that, I have no doubt. The partners at Heritage Heathwood, in the desire to keep Mike's memory alive, founded the Mikey Charity. The Mikey Network is dedicated to creating public awareness and providing education about heart-healthy lifestyles, and to place as many defibrillators as possible so that those affected by sudden cardiac arrest can have a chance at a second life. Through the Mikey Network, the beat does go on. Construction is one of the most physically demanding and high-risk industries. We know this because of Heathwood Homes. Everyday workers operate heavy machinery, perform strenuous labor, and are exposed to extreme weather conditions. All these factors can increase the risk of sudden cardiac arrest. Sudden cardiac arrest is one of the leading causes of death in the workplace. The survival rate drops by 10% every minute without defibrillation. Defibrillators are lightweight, user-friendly devices, easy to use, and designed to restore a normal heart rhythm in the critical minutes following sudden cardiac arrest. Locating Mikeys on construction sites is not just a health and safety measure. It's a commitment by the Ontario government through the Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development to the people who build our homes, who build our roads, and who build our cities. These workers deserve peace of mind if the unthinkable were to happen, so that they won't have to rely solely on the clock and an ambulance. In closing, with 3,000 Mikey defibrillators placed across Canada, the Mikey network, through their placement, has saved 53 lives to date. Every time I hear that statistic, I marvel at it. In closing, Minister Piccini, our heartfelt thanks go to you, to the Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development, for this wonderful initiative and for making it a reality. And on behalf of everyone at the Mikey Network, thank you for being here today to witness this huge milestone that will be critical to support our Mikey on-site program. And now I'll turn the podium back to the Minister.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank all of you.
We will now take questions from the media. The format will be one question, one follow-up. Please begin by stating your name and outlet.
Good morning. My name is Musa Imran. I'm a reporter with Global News Durham. First question for you, Minister, is what impact does safety equipment, specifically like the Mikey, have on the job site?
Yeah, I mean, I think you heard that powerful story about, Mike in Etobicoke, and you've heard the illustration from Chuck about Mike and golfing and what would have happened there. And so I think having the defibrillators on site keep workers safe. I've always said, productivity is one of the biggest things I think about how to drive a productive workforce. And we know that a healthy and safe workforce is a productive workforce. And given, construction's not an easy industry. These are the men and women building Ontario. They deserve to be safe on site. And that starts with heart health. And we're going to make sure by being the first jurisdiction in North America to do this, that we protect them on their job sites, that God forbid there's a cardiac incident, they'll be there and they'll be protected.
In your own words, your sort of first-hand responsibility for the workers of Ontario.
Yeah.
What is it about the Mikey brand product that you think makes it deserving, or even the right tool for the people who work in this province and build our homes and our schools and so on and so forth?
Well, shout out to ResCon and specifically to Heathwood here, who've already taken steps forward. As I reflect on work that we do with our Prevention Council, Steve, who's here today, Dr. Moody, many of our builders, our construction companies are already taking leadership role, and they've done that. You saw how many were placed, 3,000? 3,000 or so have already been placed. So there's already leaders in the industry, and I want to commend them for doing that. And it's about working with employers. Good things happen when employers, labor, and government come together to take steps to protect worker health and safety. And so they've taken steps to do it. We're going to make sure they're all over Ontario on construction sites, and we'll have a safer Ontario as a result.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes this press conference.
Thank you.